The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
And we are live to tape on the W2M Network with the Wrestling to the Max 205 Live and Mixed Match Challenge review for Tuesday, March the 6th, 2018. Good evening, everybody. I am your host. My name is Harry Broadhurst. Joining me, as per usual, the boo-boo to my yogi, Brandon Biskobing.
Wouldn't it be more of a Ranger Smith tier yogi?
No, because Boo Boo was a sidekick. You're a sidekick. That's been the running theme.
Okay, I thought it was the nemesis to your self.
Well, I guess that technically was the case last week because I did call you Skeletor to my
Exactly.
He-Man. God dang it, you're right.
Keep it consistent, Broadhurst.
I called you the Robin to my Batman. I'm
Batman. I know this. I didn't have. Well, I should have said, wouldn't it be Penguin. Joker?
Yeah, you didn't correct me earlier by saying Joker or Penguin.
True.
Why are you choosing now, Brandon? See, this is why I can't work with you but one day a week anymore.
Hey, at least you have a little bit of an off season from me.
No, I don't, because we're going to be back at this on Sunday night.
I know that. I said a bit. A grand total of a month.
I don't know why I put myself through this. I really don't. I have no idea.
Because Liz is in a snowbound hellhole right now and doesn't have internet.
Yeah, we send our best out to Liz and everybody in the New York tri-state area. I got it. How's this one then, since we're going to do nemesises?
Okay.
You want Dr. Doofenshmirtz to my Perry the Platypus.
Going old school, I see.
Popped you with that one. I heard you laughing.
Yeah, you did.
I'm just now introducing Christine to Phineas, and for this show's gone off the rails already.
It really has. I mean, to be fair, it is 1:15 on the East Coast.
Well, not to mention, if you're expecting us to stay on the rails, you're listening to the wrong damn podcast.
If you really want to hear us go off the rails, you should listen to the kickoff, though.
Oh, God, let's not encourage that any more than we already have. I'm just saying. So, let's actually talk about the reason that we're here, Brandon, shall we?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, banter over. Let's get into serious conversation time, as it is the other quarterfinal matches in the 205 Live tournament to crown a new Cruiserweight champion. Our opening contest, scheduled for one fall, is the first of the two quarterfinal matches, as Mark Andrews, a.k.a.
Mandrews, takes
on the PowerPoint presentator, Drew Gulak.
It's time for a PowerPoint presentation!
Did you notice, though, he's so focused on winning the title that he hasn't worked on a PowerPoint in months.
I know this.
What?
We can also rack this up to Triple H being in charge now.
I still feel like Gulak needs more PowerPoints.
I agree with this. But also, not only did he not create a PowerPoint presentation in the last couple of weeks, he even went against one of his edicts this week.
How do you figure that?
Did he not go up to the top rope this week?
He got Hurricane Rana off the apron. I did not see him on the top rope.
Oh, okay. You got Hurricane Rana off the apron. You're correct.
Because I was going to talk about that spot, the fact that Gulak is a moron for taking that bump in the first place. Just unnecessary. I hate that bump. I always have. I always will. Anyway, the bump that we are referring to here is Gulak manages to attack Mandrews while Mandrews is on the top rope, knocking Mandrews to a seated position. Mandrews proceeds to get the better of Gulak with a forearm, staggering Gulak back against the ropes while he's standing on the apron. Mandrews then dives to the outside with a Hurricane Rana, causing Gulak to flip off the apron and land back first on the ringside mats below. Just why?
I mean, those mats are pretty sturdy, so, you know.
Yeah, but at the same time, it worries me because I feel the long-term ramifications of that. Like, look how bad things turned out for Cactus Jack taking apron bumps like he did.
Well, this wasn't on the apron, though.
Bumps off the apron.
Okay, off the apron.
Flat back bumps off the apron.
But I feel like the padding at ringside's much more sturdy and more protective now than it was back then. Also, wasn't Cactus Jack taking bumps at ringside when WCW was trying to do that really, really stupid idea of not having padding at ringside?
Yeah, he did the same thing in ECW as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a bit of a difference.
I feel like it's just setting a bad example, though, by having these kind of bumps here. And I worry about the long-term ramifications of taking them. I know that this isn't something that Gulak does often. And I know that Gulak's background comes from a promotion in Philadelphia where this kind of stuff was not only...
really. I mean, he's done much worse.
Not only encouraged, but commonplace.
I mean, that's celebrated.
Still doesn't make it a good idea.
Yes, and plus they're taking those kinds of bumps on grass.
Towards the end of the contest here, Andrews attempts to come off of the top rope once again and gets the absolute dog crap clotheslined out of him. In the process of said clothesline, Gulak lifts him up for another pair of clotheslines and then looks to attempt what I do believe is he doing the deal of a Falcon Arrow, but instead Andrews counters it into Stun Dog Millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
The Shooting Star Press eats knees, and the Gulak, the Body Scissor Dragon Sleeper, spells curtains for Mandrews at... time unavailable in Larry's review. Thanks, Larry.
I think it was about 20 minutes or something like that.
I'd say probably 15 to 17, somewhere.
Okay, I was going to say 17, yeah. 16 or 17.
I have no complaints about this match. I mean, I question the bump that Drew took, but as far as the story that these guys told, Andrews makes for the perfect babyface foil to Gulak's serious, no-nonsense ass kicker.
Oh, yeah. This was another one of those matches where it was that, contrast of styles between Gulak's very, ground and pound style as compared to another high flyer, and it works. It works for them. I think, if I remember correctly, we're gonna get a rematch of the beginning of the Drewtopia, whenever they do the semis.
The cart before the horse, Brandon. Cart before the horse.
Okay.
Save that for a little bit later. We still have another match to talk about first.
Let me just say one thing real quick. Did you notice something in the entrance, in the opener for the show? This may be reading a bit too far into this, but did you notice a certain someone in the opener?
I can't say that I did.
I thought I saw a certain Englishman who is currently ostracized in the beginning of the opener.
A certain king, perhaps?
Yes, a certain king would be correct.
Ooh. See, now that Enzo's gone, I wouldn't be surprised if Neville's willing to come back and play ball again.
I think I saw him in his normal opening spot when he was there, with him, with his fists, with him doing the, with him flexing and everything on the top rope.
I'd be perfectly okay if Neville wanted to come back. I have no problem with that at all.
Yeah. Oh, neither would I. I'd be perfectly fine with the dude. That would be actually kind of be an interesting and a very good surprise pop moment if after whoever won this final at Mania, as soon as they win and their music hits, they're celebrating and everything, and then suddenly his music hits.
I would do it to kick off 205 Live on Tuesday night after.
I feel like they just want to get that pop at Mania and to draw some fans for 205.
All right. I mean, I suppose I could understand that line of thinking as well here. All right. Apparently, Hideo Itami and Akira Tozawa are a tag team because that's racist.
I mean, come on. It works.
You're racist.
No, I'm not. I just want to see New Japan come in and just dominate WWE.
And if Tozawa had ever been in New Japan, you might have an argument.
I wish he would have been.
I don't know that Itami was in New Japan
no,
either.
I don't think he was either, but still.
I'm like 90% sure Itami, when he was Kenta, was in Noah.
Yeah, he was. And maybe All Japan a little bit.
Way to fudge sickle that up, Brandon.
You know what I mean. Shut your mouth.
Racist. Anyways, the rumor is with this right here, and then the one that we saw a couple of weeks ago on 205 Live with the Lucha House Party. You seen the speculation about the 205 Live tag titles?
Yes, I have, and I love it.
I think if you do them under Lucha tag rules, I think it'd be perfectly okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
And I believe that it would also give you something to work with for the undercard storylines as well on 205 Live that 205 Live desperately needs.
Well, have you noticed something which, while I guess with how Triple H is handling it, like he kind of understands that they're not really going to get many more fans out of the casuals, more than they already have, but have you noticed something about where the cruiserweights have been competing over the last 4 or 5 weeks?
The same place SmackDown has? Yeah, that's kind of on purpose.
No. The fact that they've only been on 205. They have they have not been on Raw at all.
I don't know if that'll continue after WrestleMania once they crown a champion, though. I think that they're keeping the focus on 205 Live for the tournament, and then they might move back to Raw afterwards.
Potentially, but especially with them trying to create tag titles and everything, I think they're going to more so focus solely on 205 and basically make 205 Live like NXT.
Because that's what everybody wants, a fourth different brand.
No, that's basically what we've had for the last, couple of months anyway.
I'm not disagreeing that 205 Live has been more than holding its own ever since the switch over to the Triple H Adam Pearce regime. But at the same time, with them already struggling to fill pay-per-view spots as it is, I mean, granted, it'll be a lot easier once we go back to the dual brand pay-per-views after Mania. But then I question where 205 Live fits into the dual brand pay-per-views.
That makes it even harder, honestly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, unless they're gonna create, which I don't get how this is gonna work, but unless they basically make 205 exclusive mini pay-per-views, kind of like takeovers.
Or if you add them to the takeover cards.
That too. But then, you're basically adding a third division now to NXT.
I mean, it's not like it wouldn't fit there.
Oh, no, I agree with you, but they should have done that in the first place instead of having the UK division randomly get added.
Well, the UK thing was a lack of finances for them not to be able to launch the UK television show.
That's true. So you basically dissolve the UK title, move the cruiserweights into the cruiserweight division, and then have the cruiserweight title basically be the secondary title for NXT.
Much the same way they're treating the UK title right now, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd be okay with saying that.
All right, we move on here first there's a promo from Mustafa Ali talking about Buddy Murphy here, and I actually thought this was really well done. It's this kind of stuff right here. The presentation is just so much different than anything you see on either Raw or SmackDown with the promo that Mustafa cut. Mustafa Ali comes across as a star to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't just say that because I'm a fan of the guy, even though I am. He genuinely comes off as a star. He genuinely comes off as something different. All right, our next contest, actually, technically speaking, our next massacre scheduled for one fall.
One fall. Well, are we going to talk about what happened before this too, which is kind of funny if they continue doing this and having it as a running gag?
Akira telling Drake that he's fired?
No, well, that too. That was funny too, but no. After that,
then I do not know what you speak of.
Oh wait, we haven't talked about the tag match, have we yet?
No, we're getting to that now.
Never mind.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Sorry, jumping the gun here.
Yes, Fonzarelli, we are looking for a shark. Thanks. Our following massacre, scheduled for one fall, is the aforementioned tag team match, the Teddy Long special, playa, as Hideo Itami and Akira Tozawa take on two guys whose names I didn't learn and frankly don't care to.
Nope. Jobber 1 and Jobber 2. Thing 1 and Thing 2.
I mean, they may as well have been. In the end, Tozawa goes up top and hits the ton for the pinfall at about 2.5 minutes.
Was it really that short? It seemed like it was a little longer.
2 minutes and 50 seconds is the time that Larry has listed.
Huh.
Which is nice that I actually got a time for this match, unlike the opener. Hey, beggars can't be choosers, right?
Yep.
All right. Video packages for both Roderick Strong and Cedric Alexander. Both of them cut short, quick promos talking about the fact that they are this close to WrestleMania in the Cruiserweight title match, and neither one will deny the other his opportunity. So I think I know where you're going with here. Are you going with the Buddy Murphy weigh-in segment?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, it's Matt Hardy V1 all over again. The only thing missing is that little MF or Shannon Moore. Not that I am encouraging that the WWE re-signs Shannon Moore, because that does not happen.
Don't encourage them. You know it will happen if you encourage them.
We all saw the awfulness that was the punk rock icon in ACW with Shannon. We don't need that again. My brain is still jarred from that. I feel like Gulak taking a bump off the apron. Segway.
No, that's a reverse segue. We already talked about that.
Okay, then I guess we brought it back around. Hold on. What would that be? Hoverboard! All right, anyway. Our main event, scheduled for one fall, is the other quarterfinal match on this episode of 205.
So are we going to get this continued for the remain? Like, is this going to continue now? I mean, I know, well, we're going to get to it, but spoiler alert, he lost tonight. But if he does stay on 205, are we going to get this on a regular basis now?
I feel like you kind of have to, because there's legs to it. I also feel like eventually it needs to come out that he's bribing the guy controlling the scale.
Yeah, or like it's a rigged scale or something.
Like, eventually Drake Maverick is evil and he's working on getting Buddy Murphy onto the show because, you know, Europe represent. Well, I mean, technically Buddy's Australia, but still, you get the point.
Racist.
Gee, sounds familiar. Anyway.
Hey, if you want to call me out, I'll return the favor.
We are what we are around here on the 205 Live Review. Remember, send any and all hate mail to s.garmer@gmail.com. I haven't used that one yet tonight, so I'm sneaking it in.
Good call.
All right, so anyway, the match itself here, I have to say this was really well worked between these two, and I like the fact that they were able to focus on, while Murphy was trying to ground Mustafa, Mustafa also realized that Murphy was going to go after the injury, so he created an injury of his own on Buddy Murphy that he could exploit.
Mm-hmm.
That 450 to the arm was quite the visual.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I like that. In addition to doing the damage that it did to Murphy, Mustafa actually sold his stomach as well, like because he took an elbow right to the midsection, so that's gonna suck.
Mm-hmm.
But using that extra force to deliver that move put extra pain into Buddy Murphy as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a very well worked match.
The finish of said match, as Brandon gave away about 30 seconds ago, jump the shark, sees Murphy go for Murphy's Law. Apparently that move does have a name. Real quick, describe it. What is it actually called? Go ahead, I'm waiting. How would you describe that as a play-by-play announcer?
I don't really even know how to directly explain it.
Pump handle snap Death Valley driver.
Okay. See, you're the wrestling play-by-play guy.
That's why I get the big bucks. Murphy's Law is the pump handle hook into the snap Death Valley driver that Murphy used to beat. Frick, who was it last week? 2 weeks ago.
Was it Daivari?
Yes, it was Arya Daivari. Thank you. But unfortunately, since he hurt his arm on that 450, his arm gives out. Murphy then looks for a backslide, but Ali counters it into a cradle of his own, and that scores the pinfall for Mustafa Ali at 11 minutes and 10 seconds. Your thoughts on this contest, Brandon?
I mean, it was a solid match and good, in-ring psychology and them, using the injuries to their advantage and everything. Murphy selling the arm injury leading to the finish was a good spot. It was a very good technical match overall. Harry?
Yeah, you definitely saw a different side to Mustafa Ali in this match as compared to the first round match that he had against Jack Gallagher. Much more focus in the way of actually trying to keep things grounded after Gallagher took as much out of Ali as he did in the first round.
And it's kind of interesting to see Ali be more grounded because he's so known as such a high flyer. We still did see some high spots, especially like the knees and the drop to the arm of Murphy, but he stayed much more grounded than we're used to for Mustafa Ali.
Not to mention no 054 this week as well.
Yes, that too.
So that actually takes us to the semifinals, and Brandon, I hate you.
Why?
Because you got all 4 matches right.
Well, I was hoping that Murphy would win this match, but I think I did predict Mustafa Ali.
I got 3 out of the 4 matches right because I didn't think Roderick had a chance of beating Kalisto.
I told you so.
So that takes us to our predictions for the semifinals now. Brandon, who you got? It's Cedric Alexander and Roderick Strong.
I mean, this is one that I'm fine with either one winning, but I think we all know that Cedric's going to win this match.
I feel like this is Cedric's moment,
yes,
but it's going to be yet again denied at WrestleMania, and I'll talk about that in my other semifinal prediction here. I am going to pick Cedric to beat Roderick, but the winner of the 205 Live Cruiserweight title tournament is going to come out of the other match.
Okay. You need to start listening to me, by the way. First UCF and now this.
You're giving yourself far too much credit. Our other semifinal match is Drew Gulak and Mustafa Ali.
I feel like they're setting up for Ali against Alexander, but at the same time, like, knowing WWE's propensity to wanting heel versus face matches, and especially with how they've been building the contrast of styles so much in this tournament, I'm gonna go with Gulak.
I think we are going to get the Ali Alexander match, and I think that Ali's going to pick up the win here, and then I think that Ali is going to pick up the win at WrestleMania as well. Granted, in the pre-show, and then Alexander is going to beat his ass post-match.
So that's where we'll get a heel turn.
We'll get Cedric kind of showing a much more aggressive side once he fails to cash in on yet another opportunity to become the Cruiserweight champion. So
that's actually an interesting question. With the exception of Perkins when he first won, and Tozawa, are those the only two face Cruiserweight champions that we've had so far?
Kalisto technically was a babyface.
Yeah, but meh. And Swan, that's the only other one I can think of.
I'm sorry, who?
You know who I'm talking about.
No, I don't, because he doesn't exist anymore.
I know.
They straight up Benoit him.
Yeah.
Apparently, they couldn't handle this.
No, they couldn't.
Sad.
Yes, quite.
Scale of 1 to 10, Brandon.
I'll give this a 6.5. You know, not as good as some of the other tournament matches and the other tournament shows, but still 2 solid matches. And a few segments that were interesting. It's kind of funny to see them continue this whole weigh-in thing with Murphy. We'll see where that goes. But beyond that, you know, nothing huge in this episode, but, you know, a couple of solid matches.
See, I disagree. I actually really enjoyed this episode of 205 Live. I gave it an 8. I thought that we had several stories get advanced here regards to the performances of Alexander and of Ali and Gulak. You had the personality of Buddy Murphy expanded upon, as when Drake Maverick went to give him back his shirt, he told Maverick to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had what appears to be the setup, in addition to how we saw with the Lucha House Party a couple of weeks ago, what appears to be the setup towards getting that 205 Live tag team title division established as well. This time having Team Japan of Tozawa and Atami picking up a win as well.
It should be Taguchi Japan US version.
No.
Why not?
No. Just for that, I hope Miho Abe knees Taguchi in the balls again.
You shut your mouth.
Go, Miho!
No.
Taguchi is enough to make me cheer for Taichi. That's all I'm saying.
What's wrong with Taguchi?
Yuck.
I like Taguchi, especially when he does the baseball stuff in the ring.
Yuck. I'm afraid I'm questioning our friendship, Brandon. You may be being demoted back to Nemesis after being sidekick for this show. It could happen. That's all I'm saying. One word review. Where do you fall?
I'll just say progression. This led into the semis now for the tournament, and we got some more progression in the rumored tag team divisions that we're gonna get following Mania. So they're building up that tag division within the Cruiserweight division.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot that can still be done here, and I'm gonna go with something along those lines. There, I'm gonna go with foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
Signs of things to come on 205 Live.
Yep.
And I think we can all agree that 205 Live is a much better place now than it was when Enzo was champion.
Oh yeah.
I feel like the only thing missing is Triple H standing off on the sideline looking at Vince like, suck it! Like, that's the only thing missing from 205 Live's completion into its evolution into its own show.
Yep, pretty much.
Or to bring it back to our discussion from SmackDown Live earlier tonight, Nana boo-boo. Sometimes we just say stuff on here to pop each other.
Yep, pretty much.
Mixed match challenge. Oh boy. Yeah, it was a fun idea in theory. In theory, the execution has been flawed.
Not to mention the fact that they completely telegraphed the whole entire thing last week. That just completely turned me off of this.
Let me state for the record that I actually don't dislike the idea.
I don't dislike the idea either, but for one, it's a flawed idea for the reasonings I've mentioned both on the SmackDown review this week and during past Mixed Match Challenge reviews, in terms of the way that it's built and the way that the matches are executed in terms of the rules. But not only that, but the fact that you completely telegraphed the ending to the whole entire thing last week just completely turns a lot of people off.
That being said, tonight it was Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss, Team Little Big, taking on the team of Jey Uso and Naomi. Hey, I got the right Uso this time.
Huzzah! Well, at least it's a little easier because we know which one of them is with Naomi.
There's a really poor taste joke there to make that I'm not...
Yes. Shut your mouth.
We're just going to move on.
Yeah.
And speaking of moving on, it is Alexa and Braun that do move on as Alexa pins Naomi when Naomi gets distracted by Jey Uso getting power slammed through an announce table. Okay, to be fair, seeing your husband get power slammed through an announce table probably a suitable enough distraction for a 3 count.
See, that one actually makes sense.
I'm not going to knock this one. I'm perfectly okay with it.
That one I'm perfectly okay with, especially considering they are husband and wife. So yeah, seeing your husband getting power slammed through or power bombed through a table I was correct the first time. Power slammed through a table. Yeah, you're gonna think, oh, is he okay? And you're gonna look over there, and it's gonna distract you. That one actually makes sense. Unlike the Bayley one.
What it ends up being is that distraction does end up advancing Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss to the next round. I do believe they get the winner of Rusev Day versus the Road Warriors, I want to say.
I believe you are correct.
I'm not positive of that, but I think
that was the promos that they did at the end of the show.
But I don't know if that's actually the next matchup in the tournament. Should both of those, whoever wins this match,
I think it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't have the brackets in front of me, or I check.
Plus, don't we have some sort of like second chance thing that?
Yeah. Well, once the quarterfinals are done, one of the teams that lost in either the first or second round gets an advancement into the semifinals, because that makes sense.
None of this makes sense. Haven't you realized this by now?
I got nothing.
Honestly, you know what the best part of, unless you have anything else to talk about in terms of the match itself, you want to know the best part of this whole match tonight was?
At the beginning of the match when Alexa was trying to get at Naomi and Braun just scooped her up with one arm?
No.
That was pretty funny, though.
No. Well, that was funny, too. But no, all of the kind of subtle sexual innuendos that they were poking at when Alexa was falling off, when Alexa kept on getting knocked off the apron.
I mean, I caught a couple of them. At the same time, I mean, it is a kids show, so you have to be careful. It's a fine line, you know.
But see, for once, WWE actually, I mean, they've done it with the not with the Usos, with the New Day before too. So they know they are capable of doing it when they want to, but they did it to a point where they made it obvious for the adults while the kids would still be completely oblivious.
That's fair.
Like, her landing directly on top of him in, very typical, if you've done anything in your life, you know exactly what kind of position it is. Yeah, it was pretty self-explanatory to anyone who knew, but kids would be completely oblivious to it.
All I have to say is America.
Pretty much. But, I mean, like I said, they've done it before with the New Day on a bunch of situations, like back a couple of years ago when Big E was like, "Yippee-ki-yay, mother," and then Xavier stopped him quickly.
The idea of Alexa and Braun works to an extent, in my opinion, because it kind of humanizes Braun to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
And with Braun getting as over as he is with the audience, do you think they run the risk of possibly turning Alexa as well?
See, that's what I don't like about this whole concept is, in the beginning, when they were first creating it, it was like, okay, they're making a mixed tag tournament. Some of the pairings make a bunch of sense, like, like Rusev and Lana, or Jimmy and Naomi.
Jey?
Jey and Naomi, excuse me, sorry. I got it right the first time.
You did.
But, this pairing, while it makes sense in the concept of, it's the biggest dude and the smallest chick at the, pairing up, it, if you want to keep it within storyline, then you're going to have one of them turn. Which, I mean, it would be interesting to see Alexa go face. It would be interesting to see how she would handle herself. But at the same time, if you don't want to do that, then, it's going to be very awkward. I mean, I just don't know where they go from here. And it seems like more and more as this tournament continues, it seems like they're bringing it more and more into regular programming instead of it just being kind of its own entity outside of the realm of WWE, pretty much.
Yeah, I think the canonizing of the show has actually kind of taken away from both the drama as well as the intrigue in regards to how some of these teams are going to interact with each other on the main shows or how they're not going to interact with each other going forward.
Completely agree with that. I feel like this would have worked much better and would have retained its audience much better had they kept it completely separate and completely non-canon within the realm of the rest of WWE programming.
Do we want to slap a rating on this? I kind of feel like it would be rather superfluous.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it I'll give it a 5 just for the funny moments between Braun and Alexa. But that's it.
I still say my favorite moment is when Alexa tried to bum rush Naomi at the start of the match and Braun just scoops her up with one arm and side carries her. It actually made me laugh. I'm going to give this episode of Mixed Match Challenge a 3, though, because the WWE needs to get their crap together and fix the streaming issues if they're going to keep doing this on Facebook Live.
I didn't have an issue, but, I mean, granted, I was hardly paying attention to the match, so, I don't know, maybe I did.
The issue that I had, and I'm going to be straight up about this here, is that it kept going back to earlier parts of the match. It kept going back to parts of the match. It kept rewinding and rewinding and rewinding, and it annoys the crap out of me when it does that constantly because you don't get any kind of a semblance of the flow that the match is having.
You know what's weird? That happens to me on the network, but only when I'm watching on the PS3. If I'm watching on the 360, it'll just buffer and then continue where it left off.
All right, that's going to officially wrap us up here for the 205 Live and Mixed Match Challenge review. Brandon, you got anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Well, I've got a pilot episode. Me and Jason Teasley have a pilot episode up for Fantasy Football to the Max, talking about what to expect for the show and what to expect moving into next season. And then Harry, Jason, Eric, and I have the kickoff, which will return in a couple of weeks for our draft preview and then draft review following the draft. And Harry and I have the Monday Night War show called How the War Was Won. That's in the planning stages still trying to figure out everything there. And that's pretty much it.
In addition, myself, Tony Acero, and Andrew Ballas do the Raw Reaction every Monday night at 11:30 p.m. on the Chairshot Radio Network. And there's a very strong possibility that me and Brandon will be back at this Sunday night for Fastlane 20.
Yep, more than likely.
As well. I just said 17. I think that's the first time this year I've done that.
What?
I just said Fastlane 2017. I believe that's the first time this year I've accidentally said 17 instead of 18.
Nice job.
Yeah, I really Fonzarelli'd that one.
And it's March. At least if it were January, it would be understandable.
It's 1:57 a.m. on the East Coast, Brandon.
I know this.
And I got a FIFA game calling my name. So, for our unfortunately not here co-host, Les Puglisi, he's Brandon Biskobing. I'm Harry Broadhurst, thanking you for listening to the 205 Live and Mixed Match Challenge review here on the W2M Network, available online at W2Mnet.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. Catch you next Tuesday.